They are saying that these UFOs are huge, some of them. I mean, I've been getting people telling me that they saw UFOs that were almost as big as a Walmart shopping mall, at a triangle, coming down, maybe a couple thousand feet from the ground, and it's kind of floating there and moving, various directions and stuff like that. So I don't know what's going on. It's gone from like small UFOs to people are now claiming that they're huge.
Well, in my book, years ago, I wrote about it in my book. In Columbus, we had 3 separate instances of people reporting they saw a city in the sky. They saw these huge UFOs that just looked like an upside-down city flying across the sky. They were all at night, and some of them were real low, and some of them made a noise. And with one of them, there were 2 different witnesses that were kind of independent. They didn't even know the other person was seeing it. And that was pretty interesting. They were really big.
That's what the interesting is, that these people are starting to see big ones, like back in when I was doing my show in the 80s and stuff like that, when we were talking about UFOs, they were talking, maybe 100 feet in diameter type of thing. And a lot of people, even back then, they were round. Now it's more like a triangle or something, but they're huge. And maybe that's the motherships. They're coming closer to Earth. I don't know. It just makes me wonder what's going on, because the sightings of UFOs, Irene, have way gone up. And, Peter Davenport, he comes on our show, our network, on the Michael W. Hall show every Saturday almost, to give reports about, what's going on that week with reports of UFOs. And it's getting more and more of craft that are bigger, being spotted, longer times, more people, like doctors, lawyers, police officers, military people seeing them. But what got alarming here to me, Irene, is back maybe now 5 months ago, I had a police sergeant from Oregon call me up at one of their biggest cities in Oregon. And him and his wife were up in Tillamook, Oregon, camping. And they saw not a UFO, but they saw what he said, aliens on the ground. And that when he told his wife and she turned around, she saw them, and then poof, they disappeared. Now, I interviewed the guy over the phone. He was going to come on the show, but then he decided, he's close to retirement. He doesn't want to, be labeled as a nut and maybe lose his retirement. So he declined to come on the show at the last moment. But a week later, though, Peter Davenport comes on and he starts talking about all these reports across the country of people seeing aliens on the ground. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's getting to be more reports of that happening now more than ever.
Yeah. Of course, maybe back before they would, before anybody heard of UFOs, they'd probably call them fairies or something if they saw the same thing. But yeah, there are. It may be that more people would report them too, and then also, I think people are more open-minded, especially since they've found other planets that are outside the solar system and things like that. That they're a little bit more open-minded about whether there might be other life forms in the universe.
Well, you'd have to be so naive just to think that we're the only planet out in this whole entire universe that could have life on it. I don't buy that, because if you go back as the cavemen, they're drawing on the walls, prehistoric men and after prehistoric men, drawing of like spaceships, men wearing like space outfits. I mean, come on, at that time frame, they wouldn't even understand, I could see a raptor being drawn or something like that, but a UFO or a guy flying on a space, whatever, in the sky, I don't think they could even have comprehended that.
Yeah, they might see something like that, but they wouldn't have the same cultural view of it as we would, because if you never heard of UFOs and you saw something in the sky, you might think it's a religious vision or something like that.
I don't know. Have you had friends too that have had any encounters with UFOs, aliens, abductions, anything strange?
I've met people that say that they see them and they talk to aliens and things. And I've always kind of wanted to, these people that say they see UFOs all the time, I've wanted to go out with them and look. And, well, I have some, like, infrared cameras and stuff and see what they're seeing, but somehow I never have done that. And I know people that say, oh, they talk to aliens all the time. I mean, I don't know people well, but I know some people that said that. And so I'd like to go out with them and see if I see any aliens, too. But something's always come up, and I've never been able to do that yet.
Well, you know, back in the early 90s, I took a break from broadcasting, and I've said this on my show, too. I managed a couple professional camera stores. I needed a break out of radio. I wanted job security, in other words. We had 8 kids. I wanted a little bit more job security than being behind a microphone. And, you know, I took a pair of, at that time we were importing, you know, binoculars from Czechoslovakia and Russia that were infrared, the first generation. And I took a pair home, you know, and after looking at, you know, my dog at night, looking at whatever at night and seeing how many eyeballs I could see, I started looking up in the sky. And oh my God, Irene, I saw things going in the sky that would be going really fast, come to a stop, and then go like a complete different direction, and then go for a little while, and then stop, and then all of a sudden go to another direction. And I saw quite a bit of that stuff. Now, I don't know of any asteroid, any comet, any satellite, it can change its pattern like that. And it really alarmed me. And I contacted our local observatory up in Puyallup, and I talked to the guy who ran it. And I said, look, I've seen all this stuff. Now, he wasn't into, or he never ever used a pair of infrared binoculars. And, you know, he goes, well, I don't see these with the telescopes. I said, hey, come and take a pair home over a weekend and tell me what you see. Now, they had 13 members in their group. I swear to God, within a week, all 13 of them bought a pair. And these were close to $3,000 to $1,000 a pair at that time. Because they were, once they saw what was going on, they knew something was going on that they couldn't see with a telescope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I have several infrared cameras and take pictures, but I see that all the time, but they're insects. And so I don't like to, it's nice to go out in the summertime and look for meteors, but there's so many insects, they're doing that all the time, so it doesn't make any difference. And then it's so cold that I don't look for meteors on the, at night, you know, with my camera.
Well,
I'd like to film some.
I could tell you in the wintertime when the light pollution isn't so bad, when I had one of my kids, one of the 8, really got in, he wanted a telescope. And I remember going out at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, really freaking cold, and going out there and stargazing. But I can tell you, I never saw what I saw with those binoculars, infrared. I tell you, it really opened my eyes up that there is things going on that we don't realize.
I mean, with mine, I know what they are. They're insects.
No, these aren't insects, and they certainly are not comets, and they're not satellites. Now, unless we had a secret space force back in the 90s that, you know, were flying UFOs up in space, you know, it was interesting because it even looked like at times there's like a battle going on up in the sky, you know, in the middle of the night with these infrared binoculars. You'd see all these weird flashes and all these movements and stuff like that. It just made my eyes open. That, you know, that's when I started believing really strongly that we are being visited, and that, you know, again, I think we need to sit back and realize that some of these visitors are not the friend lovable creatures that give off orbs and they're here to serve mankind. I think we could be in all types of, a species of humanoids out there. Maybe some are just watching us to see how we handle our own planet. There might be some of them might even be coming down here and like picking up people like a Big Mac. I don't know.
Yeah, that's not such a good thought. Yeah, that's why I had a video camera that's infrared, is so I could take videos and then come back and analyze them.
Well, it sounds interesting. Now, let's get into your books, okay? What books have you do you have out there, and what are they about? And can you talk a little bit about each one?
The first one that came out is called, its main title is UFOs Today, and its subtitle is 70 Years of Lies, Information, and Government Cover-Up. And this is, it starts with Kenneth Arnold and before, and covers chronologically the UFO field and from back when it started until today, and discusses the various forms of cover-up. My second one is called Inside the Lightning Ball, is its main title, and Scientific Study of Lifelong UFO Experiencers. And this is where I talk about some of my own and my sister's and other people's experiences. And I especially centered on scientists, because they always say that scientists refute UFOs and don't believe in UFOs and things like that. Well, some scientists experience UFOs and write about them and the whole deal. And so I especially wrote about scientists who have sightings and study UFOs. And my last one is, its main title is Sacred Corridors, and then the subtitle is Secrets Behind the Real Project Blue Book, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Roswell Battelle Memorial, Memory Medal, Dr. J. Allen Hynek, and UFO Covers-Ups. And this was mainly about Project Blue Book, and I had, part of it I had worked in two places where Project Blue Book took place. One of them was at Battelle Memorial Institution, and I worked there, and I've also been sent to Wright-Patterson, which was the headquarters of Project Blue Book, and so I'd been in the areas where it took place and talked to people that worked in it and that sort of thing.
What was your honest opinion of Blue Book? What was the whole purpose of it? Was it to gather information, or was it to gather information and then dump out disinformation from the information they were getting?
Well, I think there was a public part of it and a secret part of it. And the public part was where they gathered information from the public. And that was like that TV show that's on now, Project Blue Book. It shows Dr. Hynek and people going out and investigating and talking to people and gathering information. And that was the public part that people knew about. But the part that was secret was what they did with the information. And this is a study that took place at Battelle. And in this, they developed a real good questionnaire where they got real discrete questions and answers, like how long did you see a UFO? What did it look like? What was its colors? How many did you see? And things like that, where they could get discrete answers. And they put that information into a computer study. And this was secret. It was above top secret, but leakers let us know that it was going on. And they did a study at Battelle of the information, and they found the results were that it was very highly probable that UFOs exist. This, of course, was not what the government wanted, and so they fudged things and said, oh, they didn't find anything, but they actually did.
Well, after the Blue Book was, after they ended the program,